Hello everyone, we are in Metairie Lawn Cemetery, one of the more famous cemeteries in New Orleans. I would describe it as if millionaires had their own cemeteries, this is where they would live, or not live, this is where they would be. The crypts and tombs in this cemetery are mini mansions, essentially. Not to say that you have to be a millionaire to be buried here, but in the oldest parts of the cemetery, a lot of renowned people. And it is raining, so I apologize. I will try to keep water off the camera. So I'm going to head in the direction of, I don't know, I call it the roundabout, where all the famous tombs are. They're not famous, but when you see photos of New Orleans cemeteries, more than likely they came from this roundabout up here. About the only famous tomb that's missing here is Marie Laveau. She is down in St. Louis number 1. And the cemetery is huge. It used to be a horse racing track, so the streets are kind of in these ovals. It's beautiful. So I'm probably going to have to do this one in parts. I mean, these burials go back, I see 1836. That's the oldest one I see. Most of them are in the late 1800s though. Yesterday we were melting, today we're going to be soaking wet. Alright, let's go see if we can get out of the rain a little bit. Head down into the alleys. Obviously with wealth comes a lot of care, so as you can imagine, the cemetery is well kept. What I've been told, and I don't know if it's true, because technically this cemetery is in Jefferson Parish, but in New Orleans cemeteries, if a person has a crypt like this, whoever initiates the crypt, like whoever the first person is that purchased it for burial, that family is responsible for the upkeep of the tomb. Now, there is a society called Perpetual Care, and you can pay them to do upkeeps on the tomb. So I'll show you one of those plaques here in a minute. They're very, very common, and that allows the family to not have to be the caretakers of the crypts. So this is a Perpetual Care plaque. And as you can see, this tomb is very well maintained. And they can give you information on some of the famous tombs and stories behind them, who's in there. Very beautiful. Alright. Gotta get back out of the rain. Oh boy. Hopefully we won't break the phone. Alright, I'm gonna stop here till the rain lets up. Be back in a minute. It's a really beautiful statue. I don't know if you can see the stained glass back there. Really beautifully done. Hopefully the camera's capturing the enormity of these tombs. That one's Whitney, and it looks an awful lot like a Whitney bank, at least their trademark icon. I don't know. Here we are in the circle, and there are some famous plots. You can see the pyramid there. That one's very has a lot of iconography associated with New Orleans. Alright, we'll go over there in a minute. This is just an army tomb. And this one is built under a hill. You used to be able to go in it, but they've stopped doing that here in recent years. I will hold on that. So you can see the tombs, and there was a list of names, but over the years it's weathered out. Let's see. Hopefully I won't drop the phone. Okay. As you can see, it's having some, it's probably why it's closed. It is having some structural integrity issues. back into the rain. So if you go to Google right now and do a search for New Orleans cemeteries, first picture is probably Marie Laveau's tomb. The next photo is probably this. And then I think I'm going to save the third most popular one for the next visit because it's quite far from here. But it is in this cemetery. If you're visiting the city and you go down to the French Market, you will see a lot of photos of it. It's very iconic. I am just getting soaked. This crypt is interesting to me. I love the way it's designed. I feel like it has a Mediterranean feel, but I don't know why I feel that way. But the front door has been damaged and not replaced now for many, many years. But there's almost always an offering here. I don't know if you can see that. Zoom in. I would assume that's probably some kind of liquid spirit, vodka, gin. You see the coins. I don't know the story of this tomb, but seeing offerings like that suggests somebody powerful, spiritually powerful within New Orleans society. I don't want to jump to the conclusion of voodoo. But the offering suggests some kind of spirituality. Okay, I'm back. Nearly all the tombs in this circle have perpetual care, which, again, makes me wonder why that particular tomb, the door has not been replaced, or if it is getting replaced and removed repeatedly. I just don't know. If you're seeing this and you do know the answer to that, please leave it in the comments below, because I am curious. So this tomb, it's gotta be 50 feet tall. I would guess massive. We will come around the other side of that. Let me show you the stained glass on this one. This one has never been finished. I find it rather creepy. Nobody finished the stained glass. Or maybe that was intentional. It's like Village of the Damned Jesus. I don't know. These people have money. I don't know why that would be unfinished. Unless the family just isn't here anymore. I don't know the answer. So basically, if you want to get buried in a church, just have one built for yourself. You know how much money this costs to bake? Probably more money than I'll make in my lifetime. I'm curious if it maybe had stained glass at one point. Oh, I apologize for that. Beautiful. And this over here is probably a society tomb. Let's go see. It has a bell. Greek on one side. A short story on this side. It's really pretty. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. Let's see if I can get a not through the gates. If I had longer arms, I could reach that bell. Probably freak a lot of people out. Alright, back to the racetrack. Again, this cemetery is massive. When you're driving through New Orleans on I-10, you will come through an area. It's known as a cemetery district with the locals. And this cemetery is there. Greenwood, which is another massive cemetery, equally as large as this one, with a lot of ornate tombs. And let's see what else is over there. There's 6 cemeteries in this area, maybe 7 or 8. Hope Mausoleum, the Masonic Cemetery, Oddfellows Rest, Cypress Grove, and there's another cemetery named after a saint. I can't think of it at the moment. There's 2 of those in addition to this one. So there's quite a lot. Interesting. I'm not going to lift my thing over that. I think that would be disrespectful. I don't know if I'm freaking out the crows. Or if they're freaking each other out. This is one of my favorite statues. It's not terribly unique, but the way that it's aged, it almost looks I don't know, undead, for lack of a better word. It's really beautiful. I don't know if you can see it very well. He has a lot to say about it though. Alright. We should make our way back towards the car, which I think is quite far from here. I'm going to head down here, circle back around. Like I said, it's impossible to see everything in one video. If I did that, I would be here for about 8 or 10 hours. And I don't think anybody wants to watch a 10-hour YouTube video. Maybe, but I don't have that endurance. You can see we have some oven crypts here as well. Generally, those line the walls of the cemetery, the outside perimeter. Not here in Metairie. You probably noticed that there's street signs. It's because the cemetery is so large. So this is another society tomb. This is an Italian society tomb. I don't know if it's the same Italian society that has a crypt in St. Louis #1. The really famous tomb from Easy Rider. These are all society tombs, as is that. It's hard not to film everything, or want to film everything. Like, that's a really beautiful tomb right there. But if I keep going that way, I'm going to get lured into continuing to go that way. So, again, nobody wants an 8-hour YouTube video of me walking through a cemetery sweating to death. You're likely to encounter mostly tourists when you visit here in this cemetery. I don't think I've ever seen a family here paying their respects. I'm sure they do, but in a dozen or so times I've been here, it's always been tourists. So you won't feel too out of place filming here, taking photos. And it's a very popular, very safe part of the city. Okay. This is sort of the center row of the cemetery. Beautifully lined with trees. Like, it could be a neighborhood, right? This is your new neighborhood in the afterlife. Nice yard. Plenty of shade. Quiet. The envy of everyone. There's actually a creek. I don't know if you can see it. A creek running through behind these tombs on this side right here. My shade, creek, and work Casper. That's pretty strange though, with the clothes. Not over here, right? Alright, my wife just texted me, said she's at the car, so we should try to find it. Perpetual care. There you go. Alright, well that's it. So if you've enjoyed it, I will be back to this cemetery for a parts 2 and probably even a parts 3. I will see you then. Take care. Have a great day.